Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Willow The Schizo, and for some reason I've been getting some shit about my mic. Apparently I need a pop filter, even though I already have a pop filter. I do have another microphone. It is a ribbon mic, and it is a podcast mic. So I decided to use my podcast mic today instead of using my normal mic, so that people will stop complaining about the sound. And this is what you get whenever I use my ribbon mic. It's not the best microphone. In fact, I think I only spent $50 on it. So yeah, here you go. I hope you guys enjoy. Fucking assholes. I'm a PI, and I think I'm chasing a monster. Part 5. Written by U/C Foul Nevermore. Boy, I sure hope witchcraft is real. I have some friends that are self-proclaimed witches, but I know that doesn't mean what your average Westerner thinks it means. I'm also still skeptical despite everything I've seen. That's making me wonder if I'm just in denial. Meeting that incubus guy scared me. I really don't like losing control of myself unless it's my choice to do so, preferably with alcohol. After a long night of restless sleep, because I swear I heard things outside my truck, I went searching around online. I found a witch's shop in town. The delightful, wavy-haired lady behind the counter suggested a charm. She was weirdly understanding once I made it clear I wasn't trying to hex an ex. To protect you against an outside influence, there's a charm I could make. It's basically a bag of crystals, herbs, and magic words. You're in luck too. There's a new moon tonight. Perfect time for banishment spells. A week ago I might have assumed she was a con artist or just a bit quirky in her beliefs. But honestly, at this point, I'm scared enough to give it a shot. While she was preparing it for me, I went across the street for a coffee. I got my pumpkin spice and stepped outside to enjoy it. That's when this petite little woman, with a shock of red hair, who wore a spiked choker, walked right into me, knocking my coffee to the ground. "Excuse you," I said in irritation. "You heard him. You heard him," she snarled at me as she continued on her way. "I smell you, skank." When I heard that, I actually went after her. I rounded a corner and found I'd lost her. The barista in the coffee shop thankfully gave me a free refill when I came to buy another one. I was pretty desperate for caffeine. "Geez, you steal her man or something?" she asked. I could only reply honestly. I have no idea who that was. I was sure she was connected to Mr. Incubus. Does he have a harem of devotees doing his bidding or some shit? How do they know who I am? Something in that lady's eyes seemed positively deranged. I sat near the witch's shop, nervously watching everyone who ventured too close, sipping my coffee. Christ. Throat punch one asshole and suddenly it feels like the world's out to get you. The idiot could have just pressed charges against me. Technically, he didn't do anything I could prove. I didn't even see him do anything to Debbie, but no. Seems like he's the sort of person who goes overboard when sighted. I know this type. When it was finished, I took my witch's charm gratefully and wore it around my neck. According to the lady, I had to meditate for about a half hour on what its purpose is. She recommended I do it at night under the new moon. I still didn't feel safe. As I hiked back to my truck, I swore I noticed someone following me. I'm a PI though. I know how to shake a tail. I wasn't able to confirm it, so it might have just been paranoia. Once I made it back to my vehicle safely, I started searching online for weapons. I found a guy who made special bullets, including silver bullets that would fit my 9mm, only 4 hours away in the next state over. The first half of the drive was uneventful, and then I noticed a car behind me. I'm pretty sure I saw the same car back in the town with the witch shop. It was a nice car too, one of those BMW sedans, I think. Once again, I am a PI. I know how to handle being followed. When the next exit came up, I pulled off the highway, moving slowly to make sure the BMW followed. I turned my blinkers on to indicate I was turning into a gas station, and waited to see if it would follow suit. It did. The second it did, I turned the other way, back onto the highway instead. It didn't follow me immediately, but about 5 minutes later they were there. My little mobile home was built into the back of an SAV. Dad and I were more worried about comfort and privacy than speed. It's not a fast vehicle. A BMW sedan should have no trouble going right around me. But it didn't. Someone was definitely following me. The longer I went, the more I realized they weren't even particularly good at tailing. They weren't exactly inconspicuous, and they didn't do much to hide the fact that they were following me. I couldn't tell if that was because they didn't know what they were doing or if they just didn't care. Either way, who the hell were these people? The next town I came upon I drove into, weaving through the streets just to mess with my pursuers. Finally, I pulled into the parking garage of a mall. It was upscale, watched by security cameras, and decently crowded. It was very unlikely anyone would mess with my car while I was in there. I stuck a shirt and a bandana into a ratty old purse and took it with me. I wandered around near the doorways, blending myself in with people, waiting for the BMW to arrive. There were 2 people inside. I saw them pause by the truck before searching for a spot. There was a man and a woman. The clothes and car made me think that they were wealthy, but there really wasn't anything remarkable about either of them. I did note that both of them wore spiked chokers, just like the crazy woman from the coffee shop. Once I got a good look at my pursuers and snapped a photo of their license plate, I strolled into the mall. I didn't even try to hide. By keeping my eyes on reflective surfaces, I figured out that only the guy followed me in. The woman was probably watching my truck. The guy followed me, trying and failing to look nonchalant as I led him on a merry chase. I stopped at various phone stalls, pretending to be interested. That got my pursuer's attention. He started texting someone. Feeling hungry and just a little pissed, I went to the food court for a slice of pizza. Seriously, pizza dipped in garlic butter is my comfort food and greatest vice. I watched in amusement as my pursuer tried to pretend he wasn't interested in me, specifically while I was munching on my food. I tried to think of a plan. Would it be worth it to confront him? I didn't see any signs that he was a professional. It was unlikely to be dangerous to give up that I knew they were following me. But the thing is, what if the guy worked for Mr. Incubus? I hadn't charged my protection charm yet. Would he be able to protect me if he got himself involved? Trying to ditch them wouldn't work either, unless I could trap them somehow. I finished up my food and waited for Mr. I'm totally not following you to turn his back. I slipped into a crowd heading towards the bathroom. I got lucky. I'm pretty sure he didn't see me slip into the women's room. I threw on the blue shirt I brought with me and tucked all my blonde hair, with maroon streaks, under the bandana. I tossed out the old purse and put a face mask on for added security. With the disguise complete, I changed up my walk and strolled outside. The guy was looking around, panicked. He didn't recognize me in the slightest, even when I walked right past him, and heard him whispered, shouting, into his cell phone that I lost her, she's gone. He never realized I was right there. I strolled my way back to the garage. The woman was still there, watching my truck. She didn't recognize me either. I slipped through cars till I made it to the security desk. The guy there looked bored. Hey sir, can I ask you a favor? What's up, man? Well, I don't want to cause a fuss, but I think someone is watching my car. I think that someone might be my boyfriend's ex. Do you think you could send someone to check? Have they broken any laws? No, nothing like that. I don't want to get her in trouble, but her staring at my car all this time is making me really uncomfortable. Kind of afraid to leave. We do see a lot of drama here, believe it or not. I'll send a guy to take a look for you. Where are they? What kind of car? Sorry for this subterfuge, but thanks for your cooperation, mall security guy. I gave him the details and slipped back to my truck. All I had to do was wait for the mall cop's car to appear. Once it did, I started up and got out of there, smirking as I watched my pursuers desperately trying to negotiate passage. I drove across town and parked myself in a secluded lot where I planned to get my meditation done. About 15 minutes after parking, I was interrupted when someone started banging on the walls of my truck. Thought you could get away? Get out here, bitch! It sounded a lot like my pursuers. Interesting. They weren't just tailing me. They must have been tracking me somehow. How annoying. I threw off my disguise and stepped outside as casually as I could. The man and the woman were both there. And boy, did they look pissed. I'm sorry. Do I know you two? Don't play dumb. The woman put a hand on the man to calm him down. You hurt someone. He doesn't let anyone get away with that, she said. I hurt someone? I don't recall being in a fight recently. Tell us who you are and why he couldn't control you. And maybe we won't kill you right here and now. Control me? You with the guild? Who are you? Why couldn't my master control you? The guy shouted. I kept playing dumb. Master? Really? Sweetheart, I'm nobody's sub. Now please don't threaten me again. I'd hate for this to get physical. That set the man off. It's always the dudes who blow up when getting physical is mentioned. The guy's fist started flying, while the woman came at me with a pocket knife. I probably could have tried drawing my gun to de-escalate the situation, but by then I was in a shit mood. Guns aren't a great de-escalator anyway. I almost felt bad for them. I've been living on my own for 3 years and I was taught CQC by a man who once stabbed a bear. Thanks, Dad. They bruised up my forearms and the woman managed to cut my arm pretty bad, but it was nothing I couldn't patch up with basic first aid. I left them there, missing a few teeth. Before leaving, I stabbed 2 of their tires on the BMW. Now, I don't know who the fuck your master is, but you tell him I've got no interest in him whatsoever. You better stop following me, and I better not catch either of you tailing me either. The woman laughed as she coughed for breath. You fucked up, bitch. Now he'll send Chloe. Whatever, lady, fuck off. I drove to another parking lot. It took me 5 minutes to find the tracking device someone planted on my car. I guess I really was hearing noises the previous night. I tossed it in a dumpster just as a dump truck pulled up. If I'm lucky, they'll chase garbage for a while. I checked all the security in my phone and web accounts. I was reasonably sure nobody could track me for now. So finally, after using medical glue and some other first aid stuff to patch up my knife wound, I moved on. An hour later, I made it to the gun shop. I'm kinda broke after that purchase, and I don't even know if silver works on an Incubus. Maybe lead works just as well? Also, it's totally weird how easy it is to buy bullets. Next, I purchased a few cloves of garlic from a grocery store with what money I had left before driving myself to a nearby national park. I hung the garlic cloves, one in my little back room, and one on the rearview mirror. I then popped open my box of silver bullets. There were 30 total. These things were nice. I have a feeling they weren't really intended to be used, given how ornate they were, but they were definitely functional. I loaded half of them into a clip, even with all this magical protection. I was still scared. Somehow I'd gotten involved with someone willing to send fucking thugs after me. Now that they failed, what if he came? And who the hell was Chloe? I put it all out of my mind so I could finally meditate on my protective charm. I sat in my truck, eyes closed, focusing on my breathing, chanting, "Protect me from losing control," to myself over and over again. I'm not sure how long I was at it. It had been a long time since I've done any meditating. I forgot how relaxing it could be. When I was done, I sat and stared at the little felt pouch. For some reason, it made me feel better, even as I grappled with the shock from the fact that I was in a fucking knife fight just a few hours earlier. Being a PI can be dangerous. Lord knows I've interacted with plenty of dangerous people and went to plenty of dangerous areas, but it's always freaky when it actually happens. I was torn back to reality by the sound of something approaching my truck outside. I could hear footsteps accompanied by clicking. It sounded like a dog walking on the pavement. Oh shit, was all I could manage to think, before something smacked the side of my vehicle and dragged what I can only assume were claws across its surface. I kicked the wall, hoping the sound would startle whatever it was. Something growled. Whatever was outside was definitely not a person. I loaded my gun and slipped my protective charm into my pocket. As I kneeled there, trying to decide what to do, the animal circled around my car, growling, and occasionally smacking into it hard enough to rock it. At one point, I even heard it climb onto my roof. I heard it working its claws up there, trying to dig its way in. I almost fired a shot at it through the roof, but I held off. It's hard to describe just how terrified I was. This truck is thick, and I feel pretty safe in here, all things considered. Unfortunately, ever since I started following supernatural leads and learning that werewolves might be a thing, these walls have started to feel uncomfortably flimsy. I felt doubly true now that some unknown creature was outside trying to get in. I let myself be afraid for a bit as I listened to the heavy breaths above me. But then I put my dad's lessons to use. I pushed my fear away, steeled myself, and stayed calm. I slipped into the passenger seat up front, but even there, I couldn't see the thing on my roof. Okay, Rain, now or never, I thought to myself. I threw open the passenger door before bolting towards the back. I heard the beast jump off the roof. I kicked the back door open with my pistol drawn and whipped myself around the corner. Outside was a wolf. Oh, a big one. It snarled at me and leapt away as I burst out. For a few seconds we looked at each other. I was trying to take in all the information I could. Was it just a wolf? Or was it a werewolf? I wonder if this was Chloe. Its eyes looked deranged. They reminded me a lot of that crazy coffee shop lady. It became clear the thing had no intention of backing off. In fact, it took another step towards me and looked to be building momentum to charge. I fired 2 shots. At least one hit the thing. It yelped in shock before bolting into the night. A few people from other trailers came to check on me. We all looked at the gouges in my truck as I told them about the animal I shot at. One guy found blood. I apologized to everyone for disturbing them and filed a report with the local park rangers. They seemed confused when I mentioned a wolf. They aren't common in these parts, I guess. Honestly, I'm not sure if that was a wolf or a werewolf. It didn't look off like the shadowy figure I saw behind Dr. Lesterman's. It had paws, not hands, and it definitely moved like a quadruped. But one detail makes me wonder. Sadly, it's not one that I can confirm. I think it was wearing a spiked collar, or perhaps a choker, just like the other people that attacked me. I drove for a while to find a new place to sleep. You know what's really bugging me? I still can't find any proof that what I'm experiencing is supernatural. It sure seems like I pissed off a sex demon mob boss who's sending his minions after me, but this could also be a bunch of unlikely coincidences. I could have had my drink spiked when the incubus showed up, explaining my unwanted wave of lust. The woman in the coffee shop might have just been a little nuts. The people who followed me might have just been weirdos, and the animal that scratched my truck might have just been that, an animal. I'm still pretty convinced it's all connected though. Now I have to wonder. That wolf was another minion. How did it manage to track me? I've scoured my truck. There's no more tracking devices. If it was a werewolf, could it have followed my scent? I had blood all over the lot where I fought those two asshats. I remember the little redhead from this morning. "I smell you, skank," she'd said. Maybe she was like a bloodhound. I mean, my pursuers also mentioned a master and something called the Guild. What the fuck have I gotten myself into? All I wanted were more answers about the weirdness surrounding Hope's case. Now I might have monsters chasing me. Maybe I'm just wasting time and money. Maybe what I really need to do is stop living on the road. Maybe it's time to just find a town and settle down. That would be the smart thing. I guess I'm just an idiot.